My name is Sandro Merino. I am the Chief Investment Officer of Basel Kantonal Bank. I studied theoretical physics, and the more I studied it, the less I had the impression of understanding it. But I was able to understand the mathematics lecture. Obviously, it's still pretty different definition of understanding, I think. And I was then attracted more to mathematics, probably mostly by the social group that we had with other colleagues, the professors, and somehow it looked to me more feasible, or I could get more satisfaction from understanding mathematical lectures, and the theoretical physics looked to me very, very formalistic, very hard to grasp what it was all about. You know, you could obviously compute something, but the methods and the thinking was not pure logical deduction from principles like in mathematics. Well, I wanted to become a math professor at some point, and I was on track to doing this with postdocs for 3 years. I was in the process of doing habilitation and so in Germany, and there was this temptation to get a good salary, stable job, etc. outside the academic world. And so finally I succumbed to this temptation and joined in a regular job, sort of 9 to 5, but still kept an active interest in mathematics with friends during my first 5 years of my professional career as a bank employee as a quant, right? Yeah. Still, obviously, the industry is moving at a different pace, driven by also other forces. But I would think that in 20, 30, 40 years, a lot will change, right? It will not change in a big bang, but it will change gradually, and at the end, probably there will be much more efficiency in asset management. So it should become some sort of information processing activity, right? And not a place where humans make phone calls to shift securities from one place to the other, right? I think that's not matching the possibilities. Today's processes look arcane if you look at the possibilities that technology offers, but I'm not sure how long it will take to really transform substantially what's happening today. People, as a rule today, are more interested in knowing where their money is going to, what effect it has there, who is having control of their savings and wealth, what are the values and the objectives of the people who get their money as an investment. So this is certainly more important. So you want to know more about the final destination and the use that your money gets subject to once you invest. Okay, that's something that is related to the whole sustainability discussion, and probably a more value-oriented discussion. Clearly, in the end, assets are valuable because you can get returns over time. That remains, I think, the most important motivation. But obviously, there are different ways to invest, and this sustainability topic is certainly dominant as one of the trends, right? I think what is happening now is that we are incentivized from regulation, self-regulation, to provide clients a multidimensional decision-making framework, right? It's not only about risk and return, it's also about other preferences, so it gets more complex. And then we should be able to have meaningful discussions about other dimensions. Okay, so basically, if before it was just colors. Now you have sound added to it, and you have to advise clients in more dimensions. And somebody wants a pink and yellow portfolio with rock and roll, and the other wants a pink and yellow portfolio with classical music. And we need to find out what people want, and we have to document what they want, why they want it, and why we have been then acting accordingly as an advisor or as a bank. So it gets much more complex. In this we carry responsibility. I think the best thing you can do is to generate realistic expectations. Right? I think that's always a criterion to judge whether the advice you get is valuable, that it should be trying to focus on fact-based, realistic expectations. And obviously, when you talk risk, it's usually a scary discussion for the client, because if you have to condition the client to think of negative scenarios, how he will feel if the financial crisis of 2008 happens again, and what it would do to his portfolio, and how he would feel in such an event, right? If you focus too much on that, the client will leave the meeting and will say, okay, that's too risky for me. And so it's hard to get a balance, but I think it's important not to skip the unpleasant part of the discussion. Right? It's a bit like seeing a doctor before an operation, right? He will tell you, don't worry, it won't hurt and so on. But then if it hurts, you're disappointed. If he tell you it might hurt, okay, then at least okay, it's unavoidable, you have to go through it somehow. So I think that's very important. So I hope that we will get a bit more harmonic, a bit more cooperational environment that is also more pleasant for us in our daily work. And then I also believe that this whole tackling of the problem of climate change, right? If you're also constantly reviewing what impact certain sustainability initiatives have, whether really you see progress towards improving the fight against climate change, you're sometimes pretty disappointed, right? Because the change is pretty slow. The emission of greenhouse gases is continuing. The economy keeps growing. Population keeps growing. So many things don't point into the right direction, right? And if on a day-to-day basis, right, you're confronted with the numbers and with the facts. And then you see the hopes and the promises being made. It's really also a state of tension, right? So I hope that what we are doing and what we are hoping for is converging a bit more, right? So that's also something I hope to see in the next 5 years or 10 years.